Sean Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Colby, Conway, bringing you another Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS show here, breaking down Wednesday's 6-game main slate. Colby, my guy, how we doing?
I am doing well. Looks like we had a pretty decent lineup last night. It was off to a little bit of a shaky start with Jose Quintana wanting to get us a little nervous in the beginning, but he settled in quite nice, so can't complain.
First inning, gives up a double, then a run. You're like, really, this is what's going to happen. Oh, 7 innings strong, came through for us. Met stack, big time, came through for us. Everybody we wanted. We didn't play Alvarez, unfortunately. Alvarez was the big winner of that one, but we got the Alonso home run. We got the Lindor home run. Mauricio came through with an RBI. So all in all, some pretty good performances there, and something that we're going to look to keep going. Even though we have a little bit of just a 6-game slate here tonight, doesn't mean we can't have fun with it here either. Before we do jump into that 6-gamer here, shout out to our friends over at RT Sports. Go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users get a 100% deposit match with their first deposit. They can take advantage of their DFS pick and play contests and their fantasy football, best ball, and fantasy football championships. The NFL season starts tomorrow, so get in your leagues here tonight before it's too late and take advantage of this offer we got going on again at rtsports.com. Colby, it is time for our RT Sports DFS pick and plays of the day. All right, we got the RT Sports board pulled up here. Colby, give me your first play for today.
We talked about it yesterday. Atlanta likes to play home run derbies with themselves, it seems, and Matt Olson's got himself a great matchup going up against Dakota Hudson. Let's do the more than 6.5 fantasy points with the way that we have the scoring over at RT Sports. Basically, any combination of a couple singles, a home run, a walk, run scored, anything like that, puts him more than 6.5 fantasy points. That line's a bit low, and he's now homered in back-to-back. So let's take more than 6.5 fantasy points for Matt Olson.
I like that a lot here for sure. I'm going to go back to a play that I think hopefully will come through for us this time. Didn't yesterday, but Bobby Witt, half a run going up against Touki Toussaint here tonight again. Hits at the top of their lineup. That game is a 10 over-under between Touki Toussaint and Jordan Lyles. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Bobby Witt more than half a run here this evening. Give us our 2 plays. Anything else for you tonight?
Those are the main 2. I figured you go back to your boy Bobby Witt Jr. there, so I like those 2 a good bit.
Yeah, I'm rocking that here. So we got a 2-pick play for everybody. Can 3x their money over at RT Sports here tonight. Again, take advantage of that promo code that we have, alarm23, when you go to rtsports.com/alarm. Colby, let's go ahead and take into account, break down our DraftKings main slate here as I pull up the board. Again, 6 games on the slate this evening. We talked about it on the podcast this morning. Pitching, kind of interesting here, right? We got Strider, Scherzer, Verlander all over 10K. Strider's at 12-3. We always try to figure out a way to get Spencer Strider into our lineups. Doing your research today, is anything for you when it comes to these top 3 guys?
No, I'm still pretty much Team Strider all the way. If you look at like Vegas odds, the fact that I believe he's minus odds at getting a win, which you typically don't see all that often really for starters, and his strikeout upside is immense. So I still think it's Strider or bust amongst those top 3. And as the day's gone on, I haven't really warmed up to Scherzer or Verlander at all. In fact, I'm kind of liking a couple of bats against them. If you want to do like one-off plays or maybe a mini stack against one of them, you could look towards that. But really for me, of those top 3, it's Strider or bust.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt the whole day, too. I mean, you have St. Louis, obviously a big strikeout team here, and Strider, just an elite strikeout pitcher. Even though there are obviously some matchups where he gets roughed up. I mean, 6 innings, 4 earned against the Dodgers, still 9 strikeouts and got you 23 fantasy points. So even when he gives up runs, his strikeouts just completely overwhelm and dominate from a fantasy scoring perspective. After the top 3 is where we kind of got interesting. You and I settled in on basically one game. It was Detroit versus New York, and it was like, which side of the game do you like? Obviously, the Yankees, a team that have really struggled against right-handed pitching, high strikeout against right-handed pitching, and Matt Manning just faced them and blanked them over 6 innings. On the flip side, you have Clark Schmidt against Detroit. Detroit, high strikeout team. Schmidt faced them, had 7 strikeouts. A little bit more problems with them. Did give up the home run, had the 3 walks, only lasted 4 2/3. But Clark Schmidt at home this year faring much better than on the road, 3.91 ERA. So, Colby, do you have a lean towards Manning versus Schmidt tonight?
I'll tell you, this game has me in such a pretzel. Like I like multiple Detroit bats, or I can at least get myself to like multiple Detroit bats. There's 2 Yankees bats I like in particular. I look at the line for this game at 8.5 or 9 in some spots, and I kind of like the over because I like the bats. But it's one of those things when you look at it. Guess what? 2 teams have the highest strikeout rate against righties over the last 2 weeks?
Detroit, New York.
And New York. And then St. Louis is 4th. So shout out Spencer Strider there. But
Right.
I mean, it's going to come down to one of these 2, I think, because all of the other ones, I want to stack that White Sox Royals game. So I don't want Tukey or Lyles. Gibson and Sandoval screams over because Baltimore's crushing lefties of late. And, well, Kyle Gibson just hasn't been good. So there's that. I think these are the only 2 guys on the slate when I look at the other pitchers, obviously aside from Scherzer or Verlander, but we're not paying up for, to get like a bar of like 16 fantasy points. Like I would say Schmidt or Manning have the best chances of getting there. I know earlier we were on Manning. I can honestly flip-flop between the 2 depending on what hitters that we get. And we'll talk about hitters a little bit later, but I think I have a slight lean still towards Manning, but I don't know how good I feel about it if I'm being honest.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at as well. But anytime you have a guy in New York, obviously a little bit scary. The Yankees have those lefty bats in their lineup that could, get some damage. Obviously, Jasson Dominguez is there. I think it was an RBI double last night. Eventually probably going to homer at home at some point here. So, but Manning has been pitching really well. It's not just the one start that he's had. He's allowed just 1 total earned run over his last 4 outings here, facing Boston, Houston, and New York during that stretch. Obviously, hilarious enough, Cleveland, the only team that did get an actual earned run off of him, one of the weaker offenses in baseball. So again, something about him is turning the corner. Not a ton of strikeouts, but does potentially have a ceiling strikeout game in order with the Yankees on tap. So I find myself leaning probably a little bit towards Manning because I like Torkelson. I like Carpenter, Green. I kind of like the Tigers lineup a little bit better tonight, as funny as that may sound, than the Yankees. But yeah, either way, I think it's where we're going to find ourselves maybe looking to go. We did like Dean Creamer last night. He pitched well enough, but they didn't send him out to go get a W last night, which is kind of frustrating. Kyle Gibson's a pitcher that has certainly had his ups and downs this year. But again, you're looking at an A's lineup, maybe no Ohtani again, and it just is it's a weak looking spot. So maybe Gibson could manage his way around a solid outing tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a GPP play. I like lefty bats against Gibson, and I think there's some guys in that Angels lineup that can do a little bit against him. It's just one of those things when you're trying to find that second pitcher, and if you want to be contrarian or you're going GPP with multi-entries, I think Gibson's a way to go. He should get the win. Baltimore should give him plenty of run support. If you listen to the Better Betting show before this, Serbo likes the Orioles to score some runs tonight there. So I find myself liking some of the Angels left-handed bats more so than I like this particular right-hander from Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would agree with you. I think there's some good bats to stack here. On a small slate, if you're not like spending up or you just eat the pitching chalk and you try to figure out ways to be different with your hitters, because we're not going to play Budo, Tucson. I floated out the idea of playing Lyles last night. I don't think it's like a great option, obviously, but did just kind of sprinkle that in the air after he threw 8 shutout against Boston. You have a Don and Hudson, no one we're going to be looking to play there. So not many value plays on the board. Those of you tuning in here, appreciate you all. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in chat. Colby and I are happy to answer them for you. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, join today. And sign up. You can take advantage of our 40% annual subscription discount happening right now. You sign up today, get it for a year. That'll give you access all the way through the start of next football season, which means you get the fantasy football draft guide and cheat sheet included in your package for next year as well. So become a member of the family here today. Catching, Colby, we talked about it on the show, how we just loved our value options here, but we're going to have to pivot, right? Our core value catcher. Not on the slate. There is no, obviously, Arizona, so we can't find Gabriel Moreno. Where are we going as our value catcher for tonight?
Well, as of about 2 hours ago, it would have been Francisco Alvarez, and
True.
then now they're taking him out of the lineup, so that takes that. So if you're paying up, spoiler alert, Adley Rutschman. Are we going to do that? Probably not, but that's a play there. In the playbook today, Mitch Garver was listed in there, and I don't mind that if you're going to look. If you want to get a piece of that Texas offense, like if you're going to go a mini stack of Texas, you could throw Garver in there. 4,200 is still maybe a bit higher than I would like to go. For some reason, I find myself stacking Kansas City. Freddie Fermin I'm telling you, the numbers, it may not be overly impressive, especially in the last 10 games, but he does hit right-handed pitching semi-reliably and at catcher. I mean, if he can get a base knock and a ribby or a run scored, we'll take that at his, $3,400 price
And I mean,
tag.
he's hitting cleanup, so it's
And
like it's a better hitting spot for him. He does have a decent little run here of hits in 4 of the last 5, 2 hits in 2 of those 5 games as well. So I like Freddie Freeman. I do. I think that's a good call out for sure. And then again, if you're not in on Verlander, Garver or Jonah Heim are both here. Could find potential spots for them as well. Would you play Omar Narvaez? $2,100 tonight.
I mean, last year he crushed righties. That was his thing. You played him against righties, and I mean that's what the team did because they platooned him as well. Numbers haven't been great of late, but does have hits in 2 of his last 3. And Yohan Adon struggles against left-handed hitters are very.
He hasn't had 0
very
fantasy points in like 8, 9 starts too, so that's encouraging. You're gonna take a min-price play if he can get you at least 2. Like not give you a 0. Sometimes 2 points is enough to get you over the cash line. So. If our Narvaez can figure out a way to get on base, that's good. He's got runs in 3 of 5. He's got hits in 3 of 5. So I definitely don't mind the dart throw in Omar Narvaez. At the worst case, it's $2,100. You just can spend up somewhere else and use that money. So I'm with you there. I do like him, and again, I could find myself getting to Adley if you're double spending down, like I see through you ask. Can you play both Schmidt and Manning today? We talk about it on small slates. You can use both starting pitchers, but you really need them to pick up the strikeouts. So if Manning is going to have a ceiling strikeout game and get a no decision, then I think you certainly can do it. Same thing with Schmidt. If he can get 7 or 8 strikeouts and limit the damage, then both guys come out of it with 17 or 18 fantasy points. One of them gets the win, maybe to get him over 20, and you're sitting golden. It'll probably be pretty. You'll probably have a decent amount of ownership because I think most people are going to play one or the other today. So they both could sit in at like 30%, 40% maybe as an SP2. It's viable. I think it's a viable option tonight. If you wanted to double spend down at pitcher and spend up for bats, certainly could be something we have in play.
For sure.
First base, talk to me. We talked about Olsen for the RT Sports DFS Pick'em plays. Do you like him then tonight as a top first base option?
I think so. If you're going to pay up, he's the one to go to. I mean, Torque's in a good spot too against Schmidt, even though he's struggled more against lefties. But at that point, if you're going to go 5 for Torque, you might as well just pay up, get 6,200 for Matt Olson. Good spot, homers in back-to-back games, hits righties very, very well. And, spoiler alert, Atlanta's a popular stack tonight. That's just, I don't make the rules. That's just what happens. They're on the slate. So we have to consider Atlanta there. So of those top guys, it is definitely Olsen, and then I do like Torque. And then if you go down a little bit more, these Baltimore bats against lefties have been good. So Mountcastle finds himself in there. He's definitely attractive at 4,600 as well.
Yeah, definitely a big fan of Mountcastle. 3 hits last night, 2 hits the night before. What did we say? The Angels are throwing 3 straight lefties at the Baltimore Orioles. Not really the smartest pitching strategy. Again, what can you do? That's just who you have in your rotation. So no surprising that Mountcastle has really feasted in those 2 games. I look for that to continue. He's a definite favorite of mine. If you're going the Texas route, I mean, Nathaniel Lowe at 4,400 could be a viable play. Lefty against Verlander there has some power for sure. And then if we wanted to go way, way down, I've played some one-off Gavin Sheets in the past. He's a lefty power hitter versus Jordan Lyles. $2,300. The man could put a ball in the stands here. Again, it hasn't had a hit in like a month, but you know what? It's Jordan Lyles. So if you're anti-Jordan Lyles, you want to spend down on some White Sox tonight, you could get Gavin Sheets for a cheap punt play.
Yep, and then unfortunately, we don't get Daniel Vogelbach tonight.
I know. Big sad. Wah, wah.
Yep, hurts there. And then another one, if you're going to go there, if you're going to go LA lefties against Gibson, Nolan Shanuel, not a bad spot. Walks, hits, gets on base. You can always look at him.
2 more hits last night. This kid is unreal. Drafted 2 months ago in the show already, hitting 288.
Look at the walks. I mean, that's free points he gets. He's getting on base. I mean, he's shown impressive plate discipline. I know maybe the full book's not out on him yet, but it's impressive. 12
walks, 8 strikeouts in 14 games. I mean, that's pretty good. No doubt about it for sure. So yeah, Shanuel is good option there. Second base here this evening. Again, some expensive guys up top. Altuve, Simeon, Albies. Albies has the easier matchup against Hudson. Do you find yourself gravitating towards one of the top three, or do you like any of the mid or value tier tonight?
I'm going to drop just below the top three. Well, if you're going to go top three, it's kind of hard to not mention Jose Altuve right now, just considering he's hitting everything and racking up
Because he had
fantasy
3
points and
home runs and
punches.
5 homers over the last 2 games.
5 home runs, 7 hits over the last 2 games. I mean, look at that, 36 and 42 points.
We said it last night. We didn't. Houston's like, hey, or Texans, hey, Nathan, congrats coming off the IL. You're getting Houston here tonight, and just shelled.
Yeah, they treated him well. That's for sure.
And then Dane Dunning comes in and gets shelled. So yeah,
yeah. Good. I think if you're paying up, obviously you look at Altuve, but I think my favorite second baseman of those top guys, I really like Gleyber Torres tonight. I know I kind of already said that I like Matt Manning, but Gleyber's got hits in 4 of his last 5 with 3 multi-hit effort. And when you look also for the year, 274 average, 17 homers against right-handed pitching, and he finds himself in his home park, which we all know how lucrative that can be for hitters. So I think if you're paying up at second base outside of like Jose Altuve, Gleyber Torres is a guy I'm looking at.
I like that a lot. Again, the power for him lately really starting to surge. Could find his way into having a very big second or final month rather of the season. Sticking with KC, as you mentioned, maybe a game stack day. I do like Massey hitting 5th at $3,300 could possibly get to him here. And Sosa at $2,200, really starting to hit the ball really well. $2,200, 303, 909 OPS with 3 homers the last 10 games. If you're looking for a punt White Sox against Jordan Lyles, Lennon Sosa is certainly a guy that should be on your radar tonight.
Yep, and then also if you go right above, or kind of that's obviously Ronnie Mauricio. I feel like we're obliged to mention him.
Yes,
at this price point. I mean, all he does is put up fantasy points. His price hasn't changed, so why should we change? And best side of splits because Yohan Adon can't get lefties out, and Mauricio hits the ball very hard. Other second baseman, I don't think he has a very high ceiling, all things considered. But if you want some consistent, like a floor of fantasy points, Jordan Westburg has been pretty good of late, hitting about 281 against lefties for the season. I think he's, right around that price tag. I mean, he hasn't been bad over late. There's no ceiling with him.
4 straight games and a double's nice.
Yeah, no big time ceiling. Like, I mean, we see 7, 8, 9, 5, 7. Like, I think he's more of a floor option at the position. You can put him at third if you want as well. But if you're going Baltimore stack, I almost think you have to throw in Westburg.
Yeah, I agree with you. Moving on over to the third base position here. Austin Riley, Alex Bregman, Gunnar Henderson, Nolan Arenado, your top 4. Again, we talked about this on the show last night. Riley maybe the most favorable matchup against Hudson. Bregman gets Scherzer, Gunnar gets Sandoval, and Arenado gets Strider. So I don't think we're targeting them completely here. Do you find yourself again looking to spend up at third, or is there a favorable mid or value tier for you? I know we talked lefties against Kyle Gibson. You have Moustakas here at $3,700, maybe piquing some interest.
I think that's right around the sweet spot. When you look at it like Moustakas, we just talked about Westburg. He's in a favorable price point. I talked about it yesterday. We don't get Vogelbach, but can we get something from Brett Batty with the Mets? Can we for once? He's
2 RBIs last night, right?
I know. Adon can't get lefties out. I keep saying it, and he's actually hitting in a favorable spot in the lab. I think he's hitting 5th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 5th tonight.
I mean, get a couple.
Vientos is hitting 6.
Lefties.
We were in on him last night. Hit triple, 2 runs scored, 16 fantasy points, 16 or more now in 3 of the last 4 for Mark Vientos at $2,200. So it could go either Mets third base. I think Vientos had first base eligibility yesterday too. So I don't know why they're messing with us with his positional eligibility. But if you had to pick one, Vientos at 22 or Beatty at 27, which one do you like more?
Vientos has the production. Batty has the splits. I would probably save the money and go Vientos.
Okay. Yeah, again, just current form, Vientos really making some contact there for sure. Anybody else at third for you?
I think tonight this is the position other than catcher that gives me the most headaches.
Sure.
I mean, you have enough options to go with. I just don't see if you're not paying up for Austin Riley, none of those guys like above 4,000 after that are really worth it. Save yourself a little bit of money, go down to Vientos, or if you want to pay up at third, get yourself Moustakas or Westburg.
I like it. Moving on over to shortstop here, Bobby Witt, Corey Seager, your top 2 price guys, about the over 6K. Seager, again, get this matchup against Verlander, double-donged 2 nights ago against Houston, and then Bobby Witt sadly wasn't able to come through totally for us last night. Did have a double and an RBI, but again, Tukey on the mound, 10 over-under in that game. Could easily bounce back. Top 2 guys on the board.
Yep. This position's fun. Like I could make a case for 4 of the top 5
Yeah.
guys that are playing.
I was gonna say Abrams,
Yeah.
Seager,
That's it. It's those 4. Seager's 5 for 17 with a homer in his career off Verlander, so he knows that. Bobby Witt's just a stud. Lindor lefty against Yoanna Don. CJ Abrams has been very good of late. Then you even drop down a little bit. The super rare outfield shortstop eligibility with Luis Rengifo. He's been very good lefty against Gibson, so I like him. We always go back to the well with Anthony Volpe. Shortstop's absolutely loaded tonight, and honestly, if I would love to go Bobby Witt if you're stacking KC against Tuki Toussaint. But if you need to save a little bit of money, I mean, saving $1,600 to go down to Francisco Lindor, that's not a bad consolation prize.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, we were right on for Lindor last night. I mean, we hit the Mets in general. We had the Alonso Lindor stack, both homered. But again, super hot right now. Switch hitter gets the right matchup, as you mentioned. Don's struggling against lefties, so could go there. Orlando Arcia continues to be a guy that just is having a monster year. Shocker, everybody in Atlanta is, but 353 for 1,000 OPS for Orlando Arcia is pretty crazy.
Yep, and he's a very, very, very affordable part of that Atlanta stack where, honestly, you don't get very many affordable options in that lineup.
No, you really don't. He had been it, and then really isn't anymore. So let's see. Rengifo's a switch hitter, so you could get him. The way he's been swinging the bat feels pretty good. Volpe at 3,800, though he's been hitting lefties. We mentioned Mauricio already. Anybody else for you at short, or anybody you want to highlight a little bit deeper?
I think we're okay there. I think the outfield, there's some good value options tonight too.
Sure. Outfield here for sure. Spend ups. Acuna, sadly. Oh man, big womp. Had him in my lineup tonight, yesterday. Paid the $6,800, and all we got was a sack fly out of him. So that hurt the soul. That one definitely hurt the soul. I'd be very willing to go back to there if I had to. Where are you looking when it comes to these top guys? Lewis Robert in the lineup tonight for the White Sox against Lyles. That feels pretty good.
Yep, can't complain with that one. I mean, he hits lefties very, very well, and he hits righties pretty well. So he's in a good spot there. Acuna is the top guy for me of spending up. I'm not really overly concerned with what happened last night. He's my top guy there. Robert's fine. I really like Kerry Carpenter. You can get to Clark Schmidt with left-handed bats, and few have been as hot as Carpenter has been of late. So I know stacking Tigers isn't always something that always leads to a lot of success, but I think Carpenter or maybe a mini stack of Detroit bats can honestly take care of you tonight.
I agree. Ozuna went yard again. Shocker. Another guy that's just white hot, but you could play him at 49 for sure against Hudson. I like that. You can. I mean, again, just blanket statement. All Atlanta's in play. So if you want to play them, you can. Mid-tier guys, I like Hayes here against Sandoval. Santander was a little bit more expensive at 44. Melendez is leading off tonight. You liked Melendez last night, and he homered. You were in on that. You called it. Homered yesterday. Now he's leading off tonight. You like the Royal Stacks. Gotta love some MJ Melendez.
And 3,500 is a very good price tag for him. If you drop down a little bit more, highlighted in the value vault today, but Nelson Velasquez for the Royals. Did we get confirmation that he's in the lineup?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, perfect. So he's in the lineup, so you could look at a guy like him. He's been good of late. What do you think? Because this is the one I think if you want to get a little exposure to that Houston offense, can we trust Michael Brantley? The BVP numbers are there. If you're a BVP truth like guy, against Max Scherzer, 19 for 52 with 2 homers, good for a 365 average and 439 WOBA. He's only about 3,700.
I would say, where is his price point these days?
3,700. But I mean, it's a very small sample size.
He's homered already, but I just don't know what we have left in the Brantley, the Brantley body for me. Jasson Dominguez is 31, hitting third tonight. That's kind of appealing.
I just figured that was the free play. I just didn't think we had to mention him. I just thought it was assumed we're putting him in there.
Blankenhorn, any interest here? 3K hitting in a good spot in the Nats lineup tonight.
Wouldn't mind that. I'm not really scared of that Met starter by any means. So yeah, I think you go Blankenhorn as a one-off.
Okay. Then we talked about Sheets already. Anybody else at outfield for you?
The only one I think if you're going to look, so Eloy's pretty reasonably priced if you want to go that side, if you want to look at Chicago bats. And then it hasn't been good of late, but for more often than not this year, he's been decent against lefties. But Mickey Moniak, I just, the only thing I don't like is the recent numbers, and that $4,100 price tag is a bit much, but I don't think ownership will be all that high on him at all tonight.
Sure. I would agree with you again. Just getting those lefty bats against Gibson Makes a lot of sense. All right, let's get to our call of fame here. Give me your home run call tonight.
I'm going to go back to the well. Let's go back to MJ Melendez.
I like it. Again, hard to argue, really. I'm going to go Ryan Mountcastle. It just feels like a good spot for him. Reading the ball, obviously, gets his third lefty in a row. So I'm going to go Mountcastle for my home run call this evening. What's your top stack?
I'll say Atlanta just because they're the
Sure.
obvious one. But if I can't say Atlanta, I'll double down on Melendez and say Kansas City.
Okay, I like that one. I would mean, yes, head nod for sure. In agreement with you when it comes to Atlanta here. I would go Baltimore for mine, just kind of following up with my home run call. What is your value or contrarian stack for tonight?
I'll say the Angels. There's a couple interesting left-handed bats there, and I mean they're a team that they're going to put up 6 or 7 runs tonight against Kyle Gibson, or Kyle Gibson's going to have a Jordan Lyles-esque performance like he threw against Boston. So give me the Angels for my contrarian stack.
Okay, I'm going to go with Houston here. Again, just I don't know how many people are going to go Houston against Scherzer, but Houston is, I mean, they're just hitting everybody. So I'm going to go with Houston tonight as my contrarian stack going up against Max here. What's your value play of the day?
Value play of the day. This is tough. I have a couple. I'm trying to pick between. I will go ahead. Give me Nolan Schanuel.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to go Lennon Sosa again. This guy's hitting the ball really well right now, and he's a free second baseman. Going to help you spend up at some other positions here this evening. Again, those of you rolling into chat, we appreciate you. If you have any questions, get them into us here now. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Time family, feel free to like and subscribe to the show. Get notifications whenever we go live. We have a whole bunch of fantasy football content out on site. Got a handful of fantasy football live streams coming up. And then, of course, we go live every day with the MLB DFS Better Baseball show. NBA DFS season coming up. We do an NBA DFS stream as well. So like and subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss any of the content that we got going on here. All right, Colby, let's build a lineup for the folks at home, and then we get out of here. Short show today, just 6 games. The Prince, Strider on nothing on FanDuel. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I think we went over enough value plays today that you can fit Strider. It's a great matchup against St. Louis for him. So I would play Strider, then throw in some of the value we talked about, like a Lennon Sosa or Mauricio tonight, and get them in your lineup here for sure. All right, pitching, we're in on Strider, and then Colby, I got to make you make a decision here: Schmidt or Manning.
Yeah, see, I was going to try to push this back to you, but I guess it doesn't work like that when you're in the second
not when
seat.
I'm in the chair. You're the analyst.
I guess. Let's save the 400. Let's hope Matt Manning can do it again against New York.
All righty, sounds good. Catcher position here. We talked about Furman. Narvaez certainly gave us enough salary relief. Where did you find yourself gravitating towards?
Yeah, let's put Furman in. And then if we need to drop down to Omar to give us another stud hitter, we can always do that.
Sure. All right, we'll do that. I wanted to throw Mountcastle in. He was my home run call. Your home run call was Melendez. We'll plug both of those guys into lineups here.
Probably throw in Witt.
Yeah, Witt. Okay, so that works. Witt. Then we have we'll try Mauricio first. I always spell his name wrong here. There he is. At second, $3,100. We like Moustakas at third, so we have a $3,150 for 2 outfielders. Feels like we might need to save a little bit more money.
Can we? Yeah, go ahead and put Omar, because I was gonna say, could we go Dominguez against Manning? I don't know if we'd want to do that.
Yeah, probably not. $3,800 for 2 outfield positions here. You like Velasquez? I'm good with that.
We'll value.
Gives us a $4,500 play. Can stack Santander with Mountcastle.
Yeah, I would like. I was looking down there, and we got Rengifo down there, but I think Santander and Mountcastle packs more of a punch than the Angel stack we would run out there.
So we got $100 left over if we wanted to go this way. Strider, Manning, Narvaez, Mountcastle, Mauricio, Moustakas, Witt, Melendez, Velasquez, giving us our KC stack there. Santander completing the 2-man Baltimore stack. And if we wanted to go Sosa, give us $1,200 more. Or $1,000 more here to kind of play around with a lineup. Does 54 get us anything? Lewis Robert potentially.
That would bring that stack back.
Yeah.
Go on the other side.
What was this? Yeah, right. With Sosa and Robert there. Do you like Robert more or Santander more? Or do you like Sosa more than Mauricio, I guess, is the other question. Well, how do you find yourself comparing the two?
I think I like the Mauricio Santander pairing.
Works for me. Works.
And put that in there. And then out of curiosity, just because we got time to kill, as they say.
Yeah.
Once you put this input this lineup, let's try a build without Strider.
All right, let's build a lineup.
Just out of curiosity, like if we're gonna pay down on both, what does that end up looking like?
All right, so what's our double pay down? We play both pitchers in this matchup?
Yeah.
Okay. Strider, Manning. 45-52. So we wanted Melendez.
Yeah, just lock in Melendez and
Mountcastle.
Yep.
And I guess Mauricio here.
Yep.
All right, so that's 5K a play. We liked Witt.
Can you get Acuna with this build?
Yeah, Cunha, because we can go. I mean,
Back
we can
to
go
Narvaez.
Furman or Narvaez, however you wanted to go down. You know, you have Vientos if you really wanted to roll down, and it's 6,200 for the third outfielder. Can get you Robert. Can almost get you Judge. If you go down to Narvaez, and get you Judge if you want to go there. But we're playing both pitchers here, so we probably don't want Judge.
Yeah.
Gets you Garver. Garver was in the playbook you mentioned.
Yeah, you could go Garver, or do you even look to get Adley?
Let's see, can
like
we get
that?
Adley?
And then if you cut,
it works out perfectly actually.
And there you go.
Works out perfectly.
Well, I don't know if I don't even like this one more. It scares the crap out of me to not have Strider in there.
Yeah, Strider goes for 15 strikeouts and 7 shutouts tonight, and you have no chance anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a way to go about with a double spend using the same pitchers. Schmidt, Manning gets you the Baltimore stack of Rutschman, Mountcastle, Santander. 2-man Mets stack, Mauricio and Vientos kind of connecting there, and then Witt, Melendez 1-2, and the one-off Ronald Acuna for the bounce back after last night. So a couple of lineups we showed everybody here today. Again, we got a full actually Thursday tomorrow, right? So we have probably a little slate. Let's see how many games is on the Thursday slate. I always forget even what day of the week it is sometimes. So let's see. I don't think DraftKings has the third day slate out yet, but let's see. What does they have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like it's going to be a 4-game Thursday slate unless they include the 640 games. Then we'll have a 6-game Thursday slate. So 4 or 6 games for Thursday. NFL kickoff tomorrow as well. We'll have a playbook out. We'll have the podcast and the live stream for everybody. If you have any questions, get us in the Discord. Find us on Twitter. We'll be back tomorrow. Good luck, everybody, tonight, and we will catch you all later.